Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. We are back again for the big match preview, a special big match preview, because it's a Champions League match preview. And we're here to talk about it. We've got a very special guest to come on and join us very soon. But Daz, how are you on this fine Tuesday evening?
All good with me, Pete. Working away today, working from home. I'm not the special guest, neither is Chris Hall. Let's bring our special guest on. No one wants to hear how we are. They want to hear from our special guest.
Of course. Look, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome this guest on, Spanish football expert, as well as being a part of La Liga TV. It is Guillem Balagué. So let's welcome him in.
Welcome,
Hello, Pete.
How you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah. All right. Yes. Life is smiling at me. The sea's over there. I'm in the Costa Brava. It's my base for the day. And when that happens, it's a happy day. Television is ready for football later. And that's what's my plan for the evening, apart from talking to you.
Of course. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on Loaded Mag NUFC to preview our big game in the Champions League at home at St. James's Park against Athletic Club. But first and foremost, Guillem, I want to know your perspective. I know you spend a fair bit of time in England. I know you follow the Premier League a lot. What are your thoughts on Newcastle United? It's been a whirlwind summer for us. Lots of change in the club, and been maybe an up and down start to the season. But just what's your perspective on Newcastle United currently?
I'll tell you what has been interesting for me in the last 12 months. Obviously, it's very easy from an outsider point of view to see what's happening at Newcastle, not just the last 12 months, but as the new owners arrive, as indicative that football is going the wrong way and all those things that I'm hearing from people. I always felt that football at the professional level, at the elite level, has been run by millionaires, then multimillionaires, and now billionaires. Yeah. It's always happened. So I sense a little bit of negative vibes, because perhaps the origin of the owners, or perhaps because it's Newcastle, or perhaps because we had already the top 6. Why do we need a top 7? And I'm saying that this has been at the focus of my attention in the last 12 months because I've been following very closely Aston Villa, also trying to push on to the top 6, also with millionaires or billionaires owners that would love to put much more money but cannot do it. And there is parallel stories, if you like, Newcastle and Aston Villa. I was doing that for a book, which we'll talk about it later. But just generally, the impression I got is that there is that establishment don't want nothing to change. So to do that, they don't mind if people start seeing the projects at Newcastle as one that challenges deeply the perception of who the owners should be or where they should come from. I know we're not going to get into that because I'm not an expert on it, but that was the impression I got following, as I said, Aston Villa very closely. You look up, you look down, and you start thinking what's happening in recent times. And what you see is a team that your managers managed to make it very, very competitive and consistent in a way that perhaps not many expected. He'd done a great job, of course, before that, but especially Bournemouth. But you are talking about another level of demands, another level of players, another level of needs, and he's done really, really well. Very impressed with him. Then you look even closer, and just before, because I knew I was talking to you, so I said I'm going to read a little bit of what's been said about Newcastle, and I was shaking my head constantly because, all right, I'll tell you what I was hearing, which obviously you're part of, you're opinion makers, but I'll tell you what I saw. You beat Bradford City, Union Saint-Gilloise, Forest, Benfica, Fulham, Spurs, only lost by 1 goal against Arsenal and Brighton, and then, of course, the defeat against West Ham. And what I'm hearing, including from the manager, is that there is a big crisis going on. So this is where my knowledge finishes, and I'm asking you, what's going on?
It's a great question.
Yeah,
It's a great question. But look, for me, and look, Daz, throw your opinions in as well as we go along. For me, that was the one thing after the frustration of losing to West Ham was my overriding thought is that in the last 7 games we've won 5. And things aren't as bad as it is. I think from a Newcastle perspective, I think there's maybe a little bit of a concern because of our form dipping in the Premier League. I think because we've played so well in the Champions League, we're doing well in the Carabao Cup currently. I think the dip in form in the Premier League, and because we're in the bottom half, I think it panics Newcastle fans. Newcastle fans have a tendency to panic a lot in situations where it doesn't seem maybe as bad as what it actually is, or it seems worse.
So you win 2 games and you're in a completely different situation. And the Premier League works that way, doesn't it? Because the games are so compact, close to each other, 2 wins, and you're in a different place.
Mm.
And that's the problem with social media as well. Now, there are some people, some fans that are waiting for Eddie to fail and want to jump on and look at a different option. And but yeah, look, he's took us so far on this channel. We're all for giving Eddie as long as possible, well into next season, but before we even think about anything like that. He's a hero to us after bringing a trophy after so long. Yeah, it's social media. So
okay, having said that, I'll tell you what I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your midfield was one of the best midfields that there was last season. There seemed to be a hunger to get the ball back and a pace in which things happen, and there was a mobility that I don't see this season. And also, the other thing I would say, you white players, some of which very famous and international, they're not making any impact in the game. I think the 4 of them put together, they only scored a couple of goals. Is that right? So there is room for improvement. Now, the good news is that there is room for improvement.
Yeah.
These players are better players. Eddie Howe can do the job much better. Selections, by the sounds of it, in recent games has to do with a bug that's doing the rounds. But when you see the bigger picture, I think you're going to see a team that's going to compete for the top 6 again. No problem, no doubt. I just wonder if sometimes I know we have a lot of opinions, but sometimes we just got to sit back and see things going through in front of our eyes and then see how things had transformed. That happened as well going back to Aston Villa, the first 5 games of the season when things seem to be going wrongly and people will just end of the project. And it was a time to go and ask a different question. Not so much, are we in a crisis? The question was, what is the manager that we know has been in these situations before is going to do about it? And then, life will be happier if you look at football that way instead of just making a crisis out of one defeat against West Ham.
Yeah, and you've made a really good point. Is that I think a lot of our viewers that they do tend to do this. We are quite sort of emotional and reactionary, but then there is a level of thought process after that. And one of the things that we were kind of talking about after our reaction to the game against West Ham is actually, albeit we are in the bottom half of the table, we're only 6 points away from 3rd in the league. So it can move, and you mentioned the point quite earlier, it can move very, very quickly. But I think it's a case of Newcastle United this season have found it very, very difficult to score goals in games in the Premier League, in the Champions League, in the Carabao Cup. It's been a little bit different. And as you mentioned, our wingers aren't scoring as many goals as we would like, because once again, whether it was Alexander Isak last season or now Nick Voltemeda this season, we are heavily reliant on our strikers scoring our goals to win these matches. And I think we just want a little bit of help from the rest of the team. And Eddie Howe's mentioned that himself. He's mentioned that he needs everybody chipping in and playing a part in that game. And I'm confident there'll definitely be a reaction to that as well. But I do want to move on to Athletic Club. Obviously, I imagine you've been keeping an eye, as you do with all Spanish teams, on their progress. Obviously, they got very close to the Europa League final last season. didn't quite make it there due to Manchester United. But I did see that they've had a bit of an indifferent start to the season, and of course they lost the Basque Derby against Real Sociedad at the weekend. What are the thoughts and feelings in Spain, or just your opinion as well, with regards to Athletic Club's start to this season in the build-up to this game?
The Tuesdays and Wednesdays have become, for fans of Athletic Club, Sundays or Saturdays, the big days, chance to travel to Europe, chance to welcome big clubs to the stadium. And from day one, Ernesto Valverde, who knows his side and knows how important it is that the side is physically well and that the players, especially up front, are sharp and ready to battle. He's been saying from the beginning, this is not our competition. This is not that important, he's trying to say, if you read between the lines. Let's have fun. But if there are decisions to be taken that have to do with what's happening next in La Liga, for instance, having just been beaten in the Basque Derby, being the best team away at Real Sociedad, lost in the last few seconds of the game, 3-2. Next is Oviedo. And Oviedo at the bottom of the table, it's something that Athletic Club will want the 3 points for, climb up the table, because they belong to the top 6 or 7 if they get things right. But things are not right. So physically, the team is not sharp. And this is a team that, of course, has imposed themselves limitations by having only Basque players, and to actually be able to be at a different level than the rest, they need to be very sharp. They need to run a lot. They need to get the ball back. They need to do pressure high. And a lot of the stats will tell you that actually they are the best team recovering possession in the last third, and they are the best team recovering possession in the opposite half. But it's inconsistent. And then they are also the team in La Liga anyway that needs the biggest amount of shots to score. That means up front they've been struggling with creating clear chances, number one, and with the form of the players that took them to another dimension. So you probably know already, but Nico Williams will not be at the game. Iñaki Williams won't be at the game. Yuri, a very important fullback, won't be at the game. And Sancet, who is probably the most talented player they've got, he won't be at the game. And I think there's a choice there, because Yuri and Sancet, if it was the Champions League final or whatever, they will play. But they've been training at a different level than everybody else. No risk taken. And there is 4 players that he's brought from Athletic Club B, so they can have a bit of an experience about it instead of those other 4 giants of Athletic Club. So that's the context. Fans love it. They know the limitations, because there is such a communion between the philosophy of the club and what the fans want. And they don't want any transformation of it. They still want to have their self-imposed limit of having just Basque players, which makes you feel like part of a family. Mm-hmm. They also know that that means that perhaps they're not able to compete at the best level in all the competitions. So Athletic Club is, after Barcelona, the team that has won more Copa del Rey, more the equivalent of FA Cups. It's one of the teams that have won more leagues, but obviously that's not their target. To be top 4, it's certainly an ambition. And to do that, they need to prioritize right now. So this is, you're going to find a team that will give the best, but it feels like, as it did against Manchester United in the semi-finals of the Europa League, that there is something not right there. And at that time, it was injuries to key players, and it was also as well, physically, the team wasn't great. And I think you're going to find the same thing. So exciting game to be part of. Great to travel to Newcastle. I told my friends they should go by the river. There's lots of bars there and things going on. Great city. Have a good time. St. James's Park, because it's got one of the greatest atmospheres you can find. But there is no great expectations from the team.
Okay. Interesting, Daz. I want to get your thoughts on what Graham said with regards to some of the players missing. So some big players missing there, and obviously, some of the Athletic B players being brought in as a bit of an experience. Does that, in your mind, give you a little bit of confidence going into this game, knowing that it's at St. James's Park with some of their big hitters missing?
It does, because we're at home at St James Park, and we have war flags, and we have the atmosphere and under the lights again. But you never can tell either. We're looking to bounce back after the West Ham result. We're expecting that the lads to perform on the big occasion. You never can quite tell either. I know we're sitting pretty at the table. If you were to look at the table, where I think we're 8th, but a win for Athletic Club, and they're up the level with us in the Champions League table at this stage. But yeah, it should be an interesting one. Actually, I want to go back to one point, because I'll forget it otherwise later. And I was looking at a quick video from 7 years ago. You were up in St James's Park in the manager's office with a certain Rafa Benitez. A friend of yours. Do you hear how he's getting on now? I know. I just the bit I focused on was you were asking him, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? And he's talking about international management, maybe Spain, maybe England. I know his career is kind of taking a different path now. He's now in Greece, the Panathinaikos. But how does he look on his time at Newcastle? I guess is my question.
Interesting. I forgot that I've done that, but yeah, we chatted after we walked around the training ground, and he could point out almost in every corner what the club needed. This is not what the team needed, but what the club needed. So he was willing to build a club, given the right backing, which obviously he didn't have. There was a rapport with the fans, and that I believe continues. It was interesting because another book I wrote, which was Brave New World, about Pochettino, it starts with a defeat against Newcastle, a Newcastle that had been relegated. That was it. That 5-0 game, last game of the season against Spurs,
Yes.
and Pochettino and Rafa Benitez, who was already the manager and hadn't decided what to do next, met like kind of in the tunnel, and you were chanting Rafa Benitez's name because you wanted him to stay. And Pochettino, who was mad with his team because they all gone on holidays, they were playing for nothing, and of course they were badly beaten. Pochettino went to Rafa, says, "Would you explain this to me? You just been relegated, and fans are chanting your name. And look at us, we are a team, that's fighting for Champions League, and which is a disaster." So I think Rafa played very cleverly his cards at that point, made you believe that he didn't know what he wanted to do, but quite clearly he was desperate to stay because it was the right place to be. It's true that he hadn't made his mind up, but he had actually made enough noise within the club of what was needed for the next thing, and eventually the agreement was reached quite quickly. And because he has got so many experiences to do with the club. With a club, with the officers, with behind the scenes, with the physios, with the doctors, with building a squad, with buying players, selling players. This is what Newcastle could have just used cleverly to go whatever he wanted to. Newcastle wanted to go next, and instead, I think, because the ownership wasn't the right kind of. Didn't have the right kind of analysis of the situation and what Rafa represented. I could just back those words from Aaron. He was a shining light in a very dark period, and the club didn't want to see it because what they saw, or the owner, what they saw was this guy obsessed in making everybody better in a way that meant you're going to be pushed, you're going to be challenged, he's going to demand. And that's going to take you somewhere. But he wasn't there for long enough, and it was really a shame.
We absolutely appreciate everything that he did for the time that he was here, because we got a little slither of enjoyment, a slither of happiness under Rafa Benitez, and a slither of hope that we could have better times. And he did give us that, and that aided us on our way to eventually the owners that we've got now. I know you mentioned a couple of players that I wanted to bring up actually with regards to Athletic Club, and a player, and I know a few people in the live chat have been mentioning it now, a player that has been linked with Newcastle United in the summer and then again recently, is it Oihan Sancet? Sunset. Sunset. I like to get my pronunciations right, so thank you, Guillaume, for that. What have you made of his sort of like rise, particularly in this country, rise to sort of being well noticed as a top, highly rated player? Had a fantastic season last season.
He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Injuries have not allowed him to shine in the international scene. For instance, he would have been part of the European Championship team that won the Euros, but he got injured. Has happened in key moments of the season, last season as well for Sancet. But when he's on the pitch, you've got a player with a different vision. It's a player that will cost you 70, 80, 90 million if you went and got him, but actually has come through the ranks. So he's one of theirs. And I'm not sure what tends to happen is that like Nico Williams' story, for instance, close to go to Barcelona, decides to stay. It's partly down to finances. They pay only 25% taxes, so that fattens up your wages. But also is the fact that you are in a place that you're never going to find anywhere in the world. Is your own the club you've been brought up with, that you support, with your family in the stands, with your friends in the stands, where winning and losing means more, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world, because there will be another chance, because they're not going to get rid of you, as the idea is to make whatever they've got better every time. And with 4 new players, the could make the debut against Newcastle, that suggests that the factory keeps producing. I know very well the story of how they get the players, and they've got influence in clubs all over, not only their Vizcaya province, but in the Basque Country really, and beyond, in Navarra, which is a bit. It's a bit of a political discussion. That's not the Basque Country, but some players come from there. How is that? Well, it's kind of the same culture, but no. But then you say you have rules. Anyway, they managed to get some players from there, and then they also go and investigate first, second generation of Basque immigrants in Argentina or whatever. As long as they got Basque blood, that works. And fascinating enough, now the second generation of immigrants from Africa especially have now made part of the youth sides, and we've seen the story of Nico and Iñaki Williams, a story of resilience and a country that hosts them, and how well Iñaki was born away, but Nico was born already in Spain. How they feel both from here and from there, and why not? That's how the world is done now. When you can live half of your life in a country, or country, allows you to grow. You feel part of it. I'm half British, half Spanish. I'm an example of that. So all that is now incorporated into the youth system at an athletic club, and when all that happens, you go to training, but you go to training with your team, and you go to a game with your team, and when you lost, it's your team that lost. So all that is very difficult for people to just leave. So Sancet has got a very, in a way, easy life. He has always lived 20 minutes away from the stadium, and his time in the car is not very long. And some love that. I think Sancet is that kind of player. I don't see him leaving, but I do understand when you see him play, that he's got the elegance of a Zidane, and the eye of a Pablo Aimar, and the goal scoring record of a midfield that scores goals, which is always relevant, especially for a team, an athletic club, that unless Iñaki Williams scores, or Guruceta scores, or Nico scores, they struggle. Even Berenguer, the other goal scorer, has also struggled with injury this season. So, no, I'm not sure he'll go, but when you got the opportunity to watch him, do so.
Absolutely. Very, very talented player. And as we said, great goal scoring season last season, as you mentioned, 15 goals in La Liga. Really, really good return for an attacking midfielder. Dad, I think there might be a couple of questions actually that a few people in the chat have been asking to Guillaume before we get on to your predictions, Guillaume, and what you think the game will be. And then we'll talk about one or two other things before we wrap up.
Cool. Nathan is in here with one. He goes, can you ask Graham, he says here, but Gavin, where he thinks a full-strength Bilbao side will finish in the Premier League?
So last season, for instance, take away the last 2 months of the season. This would be a team, because they require a lot of from their individual talented players. They have to be on form, but their physical side. So that perhaps works in Spain, but not so much in the Premier League. So would I think that teams that were below Athletic Club last season, like Villarreal, would actually challenge the top six? Perhaps Athletic Club will struggle to do that. So it's different league, requires different things. Be interesting who would win that league, depending on the year. Last year, Barcelona. Well, anyway, that's a different discussion, but and an interesting one. But yeah, I think Athletic Club will probably finish, obviously top 10, no doubt, but may not. I don't think they'll finish top 4.
Okay.
Bale is in with one here. He says, with Harry Kane over the last couple of days being linked with a potential free transfer move to Barcelona. I have to say it the Irish way. I can't say it your way. After Bayern. A, how likely is it? And B, how dangerous an attack would that be?
There's nothing on it at the moment. Harry Kane is very, very happy at Bayern Munich, and he may even renew his contract. It is, I think, though, a kind of a dream for most English players, British players that were brought up with La Liga and Sky Sports as kids to actually go to Barcelona, Madrid, and Barcelona, Madrid have got a lot of aura. So the Trents, the Rashfords, the Bellinghams, there were kids that enjoy very much, following Real Madrid or Barcelona closely, or any other La Liga team, because that was relatively easy to do in England or in Britain. So I think Harry Kane is in that category as well, and would like to test himself. But I've got no evidence that that's going to happen any soon. And yeah, I mean, it will be Rafinha, Harry Kane, and Lamine Yamal. Not bad at all. With Lewandowski last season, they almost won everything. With Harry Kane, it will definitely be dangerous. But you can see that Barcelona have hit a wall, and to get out of that wall and to play in the way that they did last season requires much more than just a forward. It's a systemic thing. It's a team that needs to recover the hunger to win the ball back, and a lot of other things, and to be able to play Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine, because they haven't done that very often this season because of injuries.
Absolutely. I've got a question for you myself, Guillaume. Is that looking at the Spanish league right now, are there any players for Newcastle fans to keep an eye on that could well be a player of interest, maybe for our team, either in January or in the summer? We are looking for new players always. Anyone that kind of stands out for you?
In every team, you'll find one player that is outstanding, a right back at Espanyol, centre forward at Villarreal, players that are not playing with Atletico Madrid, players that are coming through the ranks of Barcelona that are happy to sell. You're going to find it's a selling league at the moment, and I think at the end of the transfer market, it got quite balanced in terms of money coming in and money going out, which suggests that we're not making. We invest in well the money that's coming in, but that we have to sell first to actually be able to invest. So every club has one player at least that is followed very closely by the Premier League, at least one, because obviously the money of the Premier League, cannot be matched.
Okay, now I know we're close to time to let you go, Guillaume. So I'm going to ask you for what you think your prediction will be for the result tomorrow night at St James's Park. What scoreline do you think realistically it could be?
I don't see Athletic Club scoring unless it's in that set piece. I see Newcastle scoring. If it's early in the game, It could be a 3-0. If Athletic Club manage to take the venom out of Newcastle a little bit, and it won't be easy because the first 10-15 minutes of Newcastle is always difficult to stop. But if they manage to do so, maybe 2-0, but 2-0, 3-0 is what I expect. 3 points for you.
Is there a particular weakness in Athletic Club's team? Like, are they weak at set pieces? Are they? Is there an area that Newcastle United would aim to exploit?
Just the attack is the biggest problem, because they still are a team that concedes the least amount of shots in La Liga, even though they're not the best defense. Statistically, they were top 3 last season, and they will recover those stats. But right now, the problem is not so much how to attack them, because they will, with the kind of wave of attacks that Newcastle will throw at them and the noise of St. James Park, what you're gonna get really is it's a team that will defend in Athletic Club, defend very deep. Maybe I don't see them then pressuring high, and if they do and they get beaten, you won't see that again. So and when that happens, it's difficult to beat any side, really. But if you actually looking for a witness, is what they do with the ball. If you are well structured, you don't need to defend very deep, medium block. But if when they build from the back, you want to take the ball off them, you'll be able to. That the building from the back, one of the weaknesses, them attacking and having the ball in the last third and doing something with it, another one. So be patient, because I think Newcastle will have lots of chances.
Okay, and before we let you go, Guillermo, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you this time. So thank you very much for taking the time. I just want you to plug your book, Rise of the Villains. I know you've been doing a lot of work, obviously, with Aston Villa. Unai Emery, of course, is the big talking point. Just talk to our Newcastle fans about this book, and maybe there could be something of interest.
Well, I already mentioned that Newcastle and Aston Villa in many ways go hand in hand, trying to be disruptors and find ways to actually invest more in the side. And it's interesting behind the scenes how that gets transformed into lobbying or creating alliances. But yeah, there is a little bit of Newcastle in there. There's a lot of tension when both set of coaches meet or coaching staff meets, and yeah. There's a bit of an explanation what happened there.
Oh, tell us more.
And what has happened since.
Okay,
good choice of the picture. I didn't know it was coming, but yeah,
I guessed it might be in there.
Yeah, there's a bit of about that. Yeah.
So Newcastle United fans, make sure we go and check that book out. And I was just on a recent trip to Barcelona. I was in the airport and wanted a book to start reading, and I came across this one, an idol of mine, Cristiano Ronaldo. There was and this is an updated award-winning biography from Balagué. So I've just started. It's a fantastic read so far. So I'll definitely let you know again when I finished it what my thoughts are. But it's a very good start. So if you're about, definitely collect this one. It's a fantastic read so far, and he's outside of Newcastle United. He's my idol. So I love.
You're gonna learn a lot of things about him. Keep your mind open.
Absolutely. But Guillaume, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. We'd love to have a chat with you again later on down the line. But we'll let you go and have a fantastic evening.
Cheers. See you later.
Buy that book for Christmas.
Yes. Don't forget.
Definitely. Take care,
Guillaume. Bye-bye.
Great to have Guillaume in there. In for the show. It's fantastic. This is the type of guest that we get on Loaded Mag NUFC, the top guests, the top football experts to talk all things Newcastle United. And we had a great insight for people that are just coming in and watching right now. We had a great insight with Guillaume Balagué, but we are not done, people. We are not done. There is more.
Chris Hall has to arrive yet.
Oh yeah, maybe you will before we wrap up, because of course we have a few things that we need to get through. However, there was some news today that broke. So we'll break the show up a little bit, because we need to talk about some of the news that's broken today and some exclusive news Craig Hope broke the news today that Peter Silverstone is set to leave Newcastle United. He is, in fact, on gardening leave and has been placed on gardening leave. So the chief commercial officer is now pursuing opportunities overseas. And actually, in Craig Hope's piece, he actually talks about the fact that he is looking and is likely to take a job in Serie A as his next venture. So just your initial thoughts to this news around Peter Silverstone. Surprised? What are your reactions, mate?
Yeah, I was surprised today that when Chris put in her chat earlier. One, because Chris got to the news before anyone else, but two, it was just the shock nature of it. And I know some people might say, okay, with the CEO coming in and his 100-day review, that the writing might have been on the wall for him. But yeah, it still came as a bit of a shock. And yeah, like big things were expected of him when he did join. Of course, he was obviously involved in that Adidas deal, because that was one of the selling points when he came in, that he got that deal or he'd been part of that deal for Arsenal. Of course, we obviously have Adidas now as well. Yeah, but you would think as well we could get more over the line and be further along in our commercial dealings. Of course, people link back to the training ground and then a training kit sponsor and so on and so forth. So let's see who does come in, and I hope that we're not waiting a duration of time for someone to come in. Hopefully, there's someone waiting in the wings. But he's off to a team in Serie A, I think. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah. So interesting how it all plays out.
Absolutely.
Your own thoughts, Pete, on
it? Honestly, that's my own. I don't really talk about people too much behind the scenes. Certainly, if they're not sporting director, I think we've all had our opinions on sporting directors, etc. But those are the positions I don't really talk about. But being honest, I think Peter Silverstone served his purpose at Newcastle United, and I'll explain why. I think you've already kind of partly touched on it, Daz. With regards to Peter Silverstone, he was kind of an influencing factor in the Adidas deal being brokered with his experience previously with Adidas, and I think he was a big reason why we brought him in. He has overseen some improvements with the sponsorships. We are one of the fastest growing clubs in the Premier League in terms of revenue. In fact, we are the fastest growing Premier League club with regards to revenue, and he has been a part of that. So we have to say thank you to that. I know there's a lot of fans that wanted more from him, and look, I think the fact that David Hopkinson has decided this as part of his 100-day review is to almost remove Peter Silverstone from his role as a chief commercial officer. Tells you everything you need to know about where the club is going to go next. I just get the feeling now that what we wanted as fans with regards to the commercial revenue, the sponsorships to be really like almost kind of skyrocketed up. I think David Hopkinson's going to do that. And as a lot of people have mentioned, Liam Kennedy of Newcastle World mentioned it. I believe that Luke Edwards has mentioned it, Mark Douglas, Craig Hope, all the top journalists have mentioned it around Newcastle United, is that David Hopkinson has experience in that commercial and sponsorship marketing area. So therefore, we're not losing that position completely. David Hopkinson can do that and has experience in that. And I think we're going to see a lot of sponsorships and a lot of commercial deals being done in the next 6 months. I've got a feeling that we're going to really bolt the horse with this and really kind of go with it. And we're going to see some of these deals that we wanted to see and maybe fans were calling for. I think we're going to see some of these deals done. And I won't be surprised to see significant deals signed and sealed between now and the end of the season, ready for the summer window, because every bit of revenue we get in means that's more money that we can spend. And I think they'll be doing that with next summer in mind, regardless of where we finish in the Premier League. So I think he served his purpose. It's not really for me, good riddance, he's gone, get him out of here, this, that, and the other. For me, I just see this as part of the continued rebuilding process. I see that this is, and this is what happens with clubs. People come in, they move the needle a little bit further to where we want, but they might not get to where we want to get to. And then they move on, and we bring someone else in at that level, and we keep building. And Newcastle United are going to get there. We're going to get to where we want to get to. But other people will come in. People will come and people will go on that journey to be able to get there. And that's where I see it. So thank you to Peter Silverstone from my perspective. Thank you. But let's move forward.
I agree with what you're saying there, and I'm just going to link it back to Eddie Howe, because I think that's what not a lot, but some people are thinking the same way, that they may think that Eddie has brought us as far as he can, and we need someone else to bring us further. I don't personally think that yet. I think Eddie can bring us further, and he's not hit that needle point yet. He's not tapping out yet, but yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, and that's just the way of the world as well. I'm going to jump in with another topic for 1 second, Pete, because I would, again, like I said with Callum, I would forget it, and I just need to switch tabs because I promised Harry that I'd mentioned this. So there's a remembrance match taking place on Friday the 7th of November, and it's a Sunderland Armed Forces Select versus Newcastle United Armed Forces Select. So yeah, it's taking place at the Seaham Red Star FC. The details are on screen there. Tickets are €5 each. Gates open at 6:30 and kick-off is at 8 p.m. So you can even scan the QR code there if you pause it later on, and you'll get all the details. But just Harry wanted a quick shout out for that. So job done, Harry.
Great stuff. And yeah, we're all about supporting things for a great cause. So really, really glad that we've been able to promote that, and hopefully people can obviously see that and get involved with what is being done. So there was just one other thing I was going to promote, and I'll try and see if I can get a picture on it. Just a second. But just while I do that, Daz, any questions in there that we can answer potentially before we go?
There are, but I was going to maybe I'll wait till Chris comes. But I'm very interested in this now. This topic from Callum about what actually went down, or what happened next in that whole saga with Unai Emery and Jason Tindall. But okay, let's go to some questions for us. Mainly Tom is pointing out here that the situation with Peter Silverstone, as we've covered. There is one topic here that Sophie's on the ball for, and we brought up in our chat yesterday as well, is Mark Douglas, friend of the channel, Mark Douglas, mentioned that Newcastle are looking at Ederson, the Brazilian playing for Atalanta, being touted as a replacement for Chase 7. It's one that we talked about before, would be an interesting option for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, very excited. Very excited. Huge fan of Ederson. Spoken about him multiple times now over multiple windows about a player that would be a really, really good fit for Newcastle United. I think it's a smart move. Like, my thoughts. Anyone that's watched recent shows would have said, would have seen me say that with Joe Linton, I don't see what he kind of fully offers right now in this team, and I feel like this team is evolving away from Joe Linton. So I think it's absolutely smart succession planning by the club to look at life without Joe Linton. That's not to say he's going to get sold in January or even the summer, but what it says is that what we're looking for is that natural replacement to come in and to take the reins from Joe Linton, someone that can fit the evolution of the Newcastle United team, because that's what we are. We're evolving right now. This team would still be all action, pressing high intensity, doing all of that stuff, right? had we not evolved, but we would probably be still sitting here with a hell of a lot of injuries, more injuries than with what we've currently got. So we are trying to evolve the team, and that's what Eddie Howe's trying to do. And unfortunately, I think over the next year, maybe less than that, I think Joe Linton could well be sort of a casualty of that, which is sad to see and say, but it's a reality. But Edison, on the other hand, is a perfect fit for Newcastle United, a box-to-box midfielder, someone that can chip in with goals and assists. He is someone that technically is very, very good on the board. He's someone that's as strong as an ox, just like Joe Linton. May not have the physical frame of him, but he's as strong as an ox, can win a ball, good tackler, can play that defensive role. And I think he'd be a really, really good fit. The problem is that when you've got a player like I've just explained, you're going to have a lot of teams that are interested in him. And Man City have been previously interested in him. Teams around us like Manchester United, etc., have all been kind of interested in Edison. So if we are going to go and get a guy like him, to be honest, I think it might be January that we'd have to maybe push the button to get that done. But
yeah, he's just looking at, he's 26 now as well. So I wouldn't want to be leaving it much longer to be going from. I'd be looking for someone younger again. Then after that, I know you have to balance everything up. Well, yeah, Newcastle should be 26, fine, but leaving it till he's heading towards 28, no, he can stay where he is then. But yeah. There would be plenty of competition for him if that's what we were looking at. That's really it for the Harple says lot of mags on top, but make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to enable chat, and also smash that hype button. I'll play the hype music later on when I'm on the other tab, but let's move on to the next section, Pete, I think.
Yeah, well, just really quickly, I just had a message from Pete Graves, and Pete Graves has contacted us at Loaded Mag NUFC and said, with this fantastic event that's coming up very soon, Defensive Dynamos, with Warren Barton, Kieran Trippier, and Stuart Pearce, a fantastic evening ahead on the 19th. He says on the top Wednesday, the 19th of November. Pete Graves is kindly bringing forward to us two tickets you could potentially win for that event on Loaded Mag NUFC, but you have to be a Loaded Mag NUFC member. So if you're not a member, you're not within a chance of winning it. So we are going to do a draw at some point in the next few days to see who the winners are. So you got to do two things. You got to keep yeah, no, I've been into that. No, don't put you on the spot there, fella. Two things you're going to have to do to be a part of this event. One, you are going to need to continue to watch Loaded Mag NUFC. Make sure you're watching the shows, ideally live, so you can contact us and let us know you are the winner. And secondly, you are going to need to be a member if you want to be a part of this evening and a chance to win 2 free tickets to see this fantastic event that Pete Graves will be hosting. So look, it's at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, fantastic venue. As many a Newcastle fan has told me in the past, never had the luxury of going there before, but I heard lots of good things. Get yourself involved, people. That's on the Wednesday, the 19th of November. We will be doing the draw in the next few days. 2 free tickets to that event.
Brilliant.
Get involved.
And I only retweeted that one today because I just thought that'd be a class event to go to. Of course, we know Warren pretty well because he's been on the show. Can't get him off the show. And then obviously Pete as well is a friend of the channel. But the factor in as well is that Stuart Pearce unfortunately lost his son there quite recently, and I know. That Stuart Pearce is going to be involved on the night as well. So, but great show to attend. So if you're lucky enough, I wish I lived in Newcastle, I'd be able to go to something like that. But best luck whoever does win. So more about that on upcoming shows. So.
Absolutely. So look, we'll go to the tactics board, and the reason being is because we have a team to decide to select now. What I will start with, and I'm going to have a little bit of a look back to Athletic Club's team on Saturday because they lost, as we mentioned earlier, Derby to Real Sociedad, and they have a number of significant injuries at this moment in time. So looking at their team, the obvious one is Unai Simons, very, very good goalkeeper, maybe just past his age bracket now. That means that he misses out. Let me just go back to this because I'm not sure.
And I can check here, Pete, by putting this picture up just to make sure they arrived in Newcastle. The players that you're putting up. So let's cross check that way.
Absolutely. Hold on 1 second.
This is not the new Football Manager for anyone wondering, by the way.
No, it's all right. I'm just trying to figure out how. I think we did this last time, and I'm trying to figure out how.
See where it says name, right? Go across there.
There we go.
But now it's the color.
But it's in the. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's typical, isn't it, for a goalkeeper? Let me go down to the goalkeeper. Let me change the colors. There we go. We'll leave it as that. That'll work. It's not the official goalkeeper.
Yes, we know.
We have Grossabal on right back, so we'll keep with that one. Vivian at centre back. Please correct me if these are wrong. We have a player that we are aware of, Laporte, who played for Man City. Bertucci at left back. Let's move him in. So we'll organise this as it's worked out. We've got Ruiz de Galarreta in midfield. There we go. In there, along with Mikel Ziga alongside him. There might be some changes because obviously Sancet is not playing in this game. We've got Alex Balagué. We have another player to keep an eye on, actually, Roberto Navarro. He did play at the weekend. Is he definitely in the squad? I'll just double check that.
Let me check for you here. Navarro. Yeah, he is number 23.
Yeah, and then there is a likelihood that Guruzzeta is going to be in the striking position. There's only really one place where it could well be, and I'm going to go this player here. I don't know why it popped up, Sonado. And maybe just behind, but whether that's right or not, I'm not quite sure. Because Nico Williams came on for Sancet last time, and neither of them are playing. So we'll say that this is other than Sonadi, that is the team that played against Real Sociedad. So there is a high chance that could be the team again.
Just on Sanadini, or however you pronounce his name, Dale had a question for Guilherme earlier that we didn't get to, but he said Bilbao have their own version of Asula in the Sandini. What does Guilherme think of Sandini? So he might be someone to keep an eye on if he's a young up-and-coming player as well. So let's see what he produces as well on the night.
Absolutely. So we'll have to keep an eye on him, see what he is going to potentially offer. And if it's not going to be Sanadi, it's going to be Serrano, apparently. Nico Serrano is in the squad, and he's a forward-based player. So, more importantly, the Newcastle team, Daz, what are you going for then? Potential changes? For me, I wanted heads to roll after Sunday. I wanted players dropped and other players coming in. But what do you think the team will be?
Well, yeah, there's a few things to factor in here now as well, because with the press conference that just took place before this as well, Bruno is a major doubt with him, the bout of illness, and Eddie Howe listed a few players that kind of had illness over the last few weeks. But let's start off and see how we go. As we said at the reaction show against West Ham, I'm putting Ramsdale in goal.
Oh, okay. Big changes already, people.
Yeah.
Get your opinions in the chat whilst Az is picking his team.
I think it's time for a bit of a shake-up, but let's go for Ramsdale. Trips at the right back. He was training today. Trips slots back in there. He's played against Spanish opposition plenty of times in his time in Spain, and he's played a few times against Spanish opposition for us as well, and a leader on the pitch. Then I'm going for Malik Chow.
Malik Chow.
That's the one. He was our best player for me against West Ham, and that was easy for him to be our best player that day. I'm going Botman for beside him, and I don't think he'll throw Lewis Hall in. I really don't. And he's the first name on Eddie's team sheet is always Dan Burn. Might as well stick to form and go for Dan Burn.
Yeah, Dan Burn is.
Unless he's not going to play 5 at the back kind of thing. So yeah, let's go Dan Burn there. Sandro Tonali there in the defensive midfielder slot.
Sandro in the team. I don't think Sandro had too bad of a game as well either. I think I'm not judging him when he gets to right back, but I didn't think Sandro had a bad game. I thought he played all right. I think the players around him were not good, but carry on, fella.
Okay. In midfield after that, I'm going. I think he's going to play Bruno. I think Bruno will pull through and he play Bruno. I know there's question marks. Should he play Bruno? Should he let him give him the time to recover? Will Bruno be knocking on the door as well, wanting to play, even if he's only half fit? But I think he'll still play Bruno because he even said that he'd give him every possibility to play, so he's not ruling him out yet. So I'm going to say Bruno, and I'm going to say Ramsey alongside him, and put J7 on the bench. Good. Then on the right, he does mention Murphy having some illness. So I'm not sure if that's current or is that over the last couple of weeks. But I'm going to, because if it's the case, if Murphy has any kind of illness, it's going to be Elanga. But I'm going to go for Murphy here on the right wing. He scored the other day. He'll be up for it as well. So I'm going to go Murphy. I'm going to go on the left, and I know you disagree with me on this one, but I'm going to go Gordon because for the Champions League he will bring his game. He will. I even expect him to score tomorrow night, but yeah. I would then bench him for the Brentford game, as I said, and up top, Big Nick has to be Big Nick up front. Asula, bring him off the last 5 minutes or so, because any longer than that, we're not getting. We saw how that worked. That we gave him half, and it didn't happen really. So yeah, Big Nick. That's my team. But what would you change there, Pete?
Yeah, no, I like that team. I think that's a team that would definitely get the 3 points against Athletic Club for me. I do think there may be 1 or 2 other changes to this team that you put out. I think, look, with the Gordon situation, I think you're right. I think he probably does play, and look, we've already said he'll probably play well, and then there'll be a question of, it was an off game, this, that, and the other, but he's always been a play well in the Champions League. So I think you're right. I personally wouldn't play him, but I think he will play. So I think you are absolutely spot on in that situation. I'm not sure if he plays Elanga instead of Murphy. I've just got a feeling he's going to go with Elanga in this team, and the reason being, and it's no slant on Murphy at all. Murphy scored the goal at the weekend, and Murphy played brilliantly in the Champions League last time against Benfica. But I just think we probably need Murphy more against Brentford. And you sort of touched on it, Daz, with regards to Murphy, because he has been managing an Achilles injury recently. And that's why he has been rested in some games and not playing all the time. And I think maybe that might be part of Eddie Howe's thinking again, because he won't want him to break down and have something serious. And that's why Murphy hasn't really been finishing games for that exact reason. So I've just got a feeling in this game, and as well as that, at some point you've got to give Elanga a proper run out. He's got to have minutes. Like there's been people on social media that have been hammering Elanga after the game against West Ham. Look, we've already said every player was rubbish, and Elanga only played 10 minutes in that game. 10 minutes isn't really enough to turn the game on its head, especially when the rest of your teammates have effectively given up the game. I'm not gonna hammer Elanga for that. We all know he needs to produce better, and we have got to be patient with him. But I think this is a really good opportunity against a really depleted Athletic Club team to give him his chance and his opportunity to go, right, go and get yourself a goal, or go and get yourself an assist, or both, and put yourself on the board and gain some confidence on the back of it. I would love nothing more, Daz, for Elanga to go and get a goal and assist, or get a couple of goals tomorrow night. And I just think it's a perfect opportunity for him to really go at this team.
He'll kickstart his Newcastle career.
Exactly that. And that's why I think, if you're asking me, I'm going with Elanga there, and I really hope that Eddie Howe does that. We know what Murphy's about. We need Murphy for Brentford. It's a massive game next weekend, but I think we can still win this game and win it well with Elanga getting minutes under his belt and starting. So that's kind of the big switch for me. I'm glad you put Trippier in, Daz, because I would have absolutely done the same. Yeah. I'm not sure if Botman plays tomorrow. That's my kind of other change. I think he might play Shaw. And the reason why I think he might play Shaw is because I think he's going to... I think he needs, or maybe wants, this team to maybe be a little bit more progressive. And Botman is good on the board. He's brilliant on the board, in fact. But I just think Malik Chow and Fabian Shaw are both very, very progressive in terms of breaking the lines. And I think we could get a lot of joy with these two at the back. Again, Balagué already talked about earlier on. He said, the attacking line is their weakness. I think Chow and Shaw can handle that attacking line at Bilbao. But I think on the ball, I think we can really carve them open with those balls into the middle. We talked about Malik Chow and his ability to cut through the lines of passing, and just, throwing out the example here with the ball. Some of the things that we've talked about on our review shows and reaction shows, where Malik Chow's, hold on one second, don't know what's happening there, where he's picking up the ball in these areas, and he's playing the ball not just to Ramsey as a simple pass, but playing it through the lines into Walter Maida.
Yes.
And really kind of driving us up.
He's the only one. He's the only one doing that, playing it straight to he knows what Nick is looking for, and he knows his game. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, you're absolutely right. He knows what Nick Voltermaida wants. He seems, like you said, he seems to be the only one. So playing those balls through the line and really driving as far up the pitch. And then when you've got, I think I've lost Shaw. Where did Shaw go? Where was he?
Where did he go?
I've lost him somewhere. He's on it.
Let's hope he doesn't go missing tomorrow night. But while you're looking for Shaw, Pete, I have a question in from one of our viewers, one of our mods, Tom Dixon. He goes, "Where's Chris Hall? He's late." Well, he's here. Welcome, Chris.
Boys. You know what? I'm so frustrated, so annoyed. I will tell you all about it. Afterwards. But I'm here. And I'm gutted I missed Gillem, so I look forward to watching that back later on. And I've covered a key time, boys, with this lineup. I can see the lineups.
Because we're missing Char. Have you seen Char? Do you know where he is?
Where the hell is he gone?
Where's Char gone?
Someone's gonna have to watch it back and tell me where the hell he went, because I've got no idea.
I think you have him hiding behind someone else there.
He's not on the screen.
He's if he moves to all the players around.
No, you'd be able to see him. It's almost like he got traded for the ball. He got traded for the ball. So I've traded Charlie for the football.
Down to 10 men. No, before the game even starts.
I'll just put Botman in there just for that. But the point I was making is that Shaw, Botman on this side, they're playing those line through the passes like Chow. Chow can play that into Voltameda. Shaw can play line through balls, and actually Gordon might benefit from this because he likes the diagonal Shaw into Gordon to be able to make those runs into those areas. So the reason why I think it'll be potentially Shaw and Chow is because they've got the ability to handle that weak attack that they've got there for Bilbao, and they can progress right up the pitch. So that was kind of my thoughts on there. Everything else is probably as I would have done it. Ramsey needs to play. Joe Linton needs to ride the bench. Guimaraes is obviously on a knife edge. I think if he is fit, you're right, he plays. And everyone else is as it was. I think sorry, Ramsdale was the last one. Ramsdale, yeah, I'd be giving him a run out. And I think Eddie Howe was asked the question in his press conference today. And I think the way he spoke about it, he didn't give anything away, but it wasn't dismissed, shall I say? So it's definitely a possibility. But Chris, your thoughts on Daz's lineup? I've made a couple of changes in there, but what do you think?
Oh no, I can't believe this.
I can't believe it. Back to him.
That's all we have time for. Thanks for joining.
It's been a brilliant show. Thank you for your contribution, Chris. No, do you know what, boys? I was looking at the lineup and I was like, yeah, totally agree. Obviously, I know you want Fabian Schär in, but you can't put him in. So I would agree with that. But boys, I have to say, I'm putting Barnes in. I'm putting Barnes in. I want Gordon. I want Gordon to bloody, be red that I attacked. Do you know what, Daz? And you made a fantastic point, and you did make me reflect a little bit, because the idea being it's for the good of the team, isn't it? And maybe I'm being a bit personal here, because for the good of the team and to get the result that we want, you would argue that putting Anthony Gordon in, it makes the most sense. Maybe I'm being a bit too personal. I'd love to hear from people in the chat, actually. Do people in the chat agree that the reason I'm saying that Harvey Barnes should start is because I almost want Eddie Howe to go to Anthony Gordon. You can't pick and choose when you perform. So you want to play Champions League games where you're going to have to start performing in the Premier League, and then you'll get Champions League games. This should be seen as a treat, or like a reward for performing well, not as in, you don't have to play the Premier League games, because they're not really a big problem. It really annoys me. I'll be honest, it annoys me the way Anthony Gordon looks like an absolute, godsend when it comes to Champions League game, and then for Premier League game he just goes missing. That really irritates me. Whether it's a long-term one, I don't know. Oh, Bill Ashby. Thank you very much, Bill. Much love. Missed you. Yeah, I missed you too, Bill. I was thinking.
So you think if someone doesn't turn up, they should ride the bench like that, Hot Think B, like that. Back on the screen, Chris.
I like that, Daz. I like that. No, absolutely. And I'll be honest, when a few minutes after 5, I opened the link and I was like, please say Pete's on with Daz. And then I seen Daz, I was like, oh, thank God for that. I had horrible visions of Pete being on his own. So yeah, apologies for that, boys. But yeah, good to be back. Great that I've managed to make the tactics board, even though I missed Guillem, which is very, very disappointing. I was really looking forward to speaking with Guillem and meeting him. But yeah, I agree with the lineup. Other than Gordon, I agree with the lineup. But equally, if he does start Gordon and Gordon performs well and we win the match, I shouldn't really complain.
Yeah, there's a lot of people agreeing with you in the chat, Chris, on Gordon, I must say. But I just think Eddie's going to go with
I know what
Gordon
you're saying.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I know what you say. And by the way, boys, I think the midfield three is spot on. That's exactly the midfield three it should be.
Bruno may be missing yet, though.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah. So we will have to see. We will have to see. Oh, and you boys going with Ramsdale as well?
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, I won't be against Ramsdale starting.
No,
But whether he does or not is a different thing. There's probably more chance of Pope starting, and that was my argument with Gordon, is that I actually want Barnes to start. I want him to start Wednesday. I want him to start Sunday, but I just don't think he will. I just think Eddie Howe will stick with Gordon, but he absolutely shouldn't. So
there's some other teams listed in the chat as well. Tom Dixon, kind of variations on what we've done are very similar from Tom, Bill, and Aaron. But I'm going to go to Giniesta's one because he's gone for 5 at the back with Byrne and Trips as our wing backs, and 2 in the middle and 3 up top. So 5-2-3 kind of a formation. So interesting take on that as well. That's I guess if Bruno is out, so that's something he could potentially look at.
Yeah, potentially.
And then Byrne will have his license to roam, like he likes to wander when he's in that wing back role. So,
I wouldn't be happy with 3 at the back. I wouldn't be happy with 3 at the back. Not even the fact that we're at home, but we're playing against a depleted Athletic club, who arguably all of their attacking talent is injured and not playing. You know, Sancet's not playing, Inaki Williams, Nico Williams. They're all of them are not traveling. So with that, you know, you're looking at that situation thinking, why do we need 3 at the back? Why do we need to defend so deeply and have 3 centre-back defenders when we could actually get 3 attacking players and push ourselves further forward? We should be absolutely going for Bilbao's throat. Like, we should be really going at them and getting at them and trying to get the early goal. We should be trying to put them to the sword as soon as possible. Effectively, we should be doing what we should have done to West Ham on Sunday. We should be taking advantage of the fact that they've got a weakness. They're a weak team. They're not playing well at the moment. They've just come off the back of a loss this weekend. And we should be taking full advantage of that. So, yeah, I hope we don't see 3 at the back personally. I hope we do just play our strongest possible team with drops in mind, whether it's Gordon, Joe Linton, Pope. And I think we need to be going for the jugular. We really need to go for it. So that's just me.
We've got a super chat in as well, guys, and it comes from Espen Alexander Romero Borde. Great name. Well, thanks, Espen. And no comment, but I'm going to go to another comment you made, because you're agreeing with what Sophie said about giving Hall some minutes. Because Sophie is saying here, give Hall 60 minutes. Will we see Lewis Hall at some stage in the game, boys?
I expect to see Hall. I expect to see Hall play. I expect to see him play. For me, if we're comfortable 2-3-0, I'm giving him 30 minutes. If it's a little bit tighter, I'm giving him 15. The absolute key here is that Lewis Hall, regardless of the result at the time, should be getting minutes off the bench. Absolutely, this is the game for it. I need Lewis Hall back playing regular minutes for Newcastle United as soon as possible, because we need options. We need Hall back in this team playing. You can't go from being almost nailed on to be player of the season back in February, March time, to then not even being able to get on and get any minutes the season after, when he was being talked about going to the World Cup. He has to be getting him back in and giving him minutes as soon as possible. And tomorrow is absolutely that time.
Yeah, no, I agree, Pete. I mean, the sooner we get Lewis Hall back fully match fit, should we call it, the better. And the only way he's going to get match fit is by playing games, playing minutes. And you could argue this will be a really good game to throw him into, because, like you mentioned, Bilbao not on the best of form, missing, should I say, some key players. I would absolutely start, Lewis Hall this game. I'd love to see him start, but at the very bare minimum, I'd want him to come on, the very bare minimum. But, he was on the bench last game, so for me, he must be ready. And let's be honest, boys, this isn't a brand new player we're talking about. This is a player who knows the Eddie Howe system. He knows how Eddie Howe plays. So him coming back into the team, shouldn't be that much of an overhaul. If you know what I mean, for want of a better phrase. But yeah. So I hope at the very bare minimum he gets a good half hour. But we will wait and see.
Espen also comes in and says, "This is the best channel." Thanks, Espen, for that comment. Well, one I don't agree with Espen, and especially if you've been watching the first 60 minutes of this show, he said Hall is great. If you're referring to Chris Hall, not so great in timekeeping. I'm only messing, Chris. But yeah, no, we agree. Lewis Hall, he's great.
Oh.
Where's your voice?
Well, that's it. Everything is kind of been covered. So it's down to match prediction. So Guillaume Balagué was quite generous with Newcastle United. He thinks that we're going to be a really difficult match. He was talking 2-0 and 3-0 in his match prediction before he went. So, boys, what do we think? What do we think about this prediction for the match? Injuries into the team of Athletic Club. What we're going for, Daz?
I'll go the same as I said against West Ham.
No.
2-0 Newcastle. Yeah, maybe they're look, I think it's going to be close. Whatever side they put out, it's going to be up for it. They all play for the jersey. It's their hometown club, no matter who's playing on that pitch for Athletic Club. And very interesting, actually, the way because I did listen to, or I saw a 7-minute clip on the BBC today, and I was just going into a bit of depth on Athletic, and it mentions that 140, 180 clubs that all feed into Athletic, so that's where they get their players from. But yeah, 2-0 Newcastle for me, under the lights, needing to bounce back in the Champions League. I think Gordon's going to get Gordon and Nick Walsh made my scorers.
Chris, your thoughts? What do you think the result's going to be? You're going to go same result as West Ham, or are you going to go something different?
I'm definitely not going to go the same result as West Ham, because it feels like every time I'm really confident, the opposite happens. So I said 3-0 against West Ham, so I won't be going 3-0. I'm going to agree with Tom and Sophie, who said 2-1 Newcastle. I think we win, but I think it'll be a bit closer, so I'll say 2-1 Newcastle.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to say we're going to score more goals. So I'm going to say we're going to win 3-1. I think we'll be. I'm saying 3 goals because I'm expecting a reaction from this team. I'm expecting it. I'd be really disappointed if we didn't get a reaction from these players after that performance against West Ham. So I do think there'll be goals in this team. I'm hoping there is, and I'm kind of expecting it as well. So I'm going to go 3-1. I was going to go 3-0, but I thought, I don't want to tempt fate with that clean sheet. I hope we get one, but I don't want to ruin it. But anyway, 3-1 Newcastle United. We'll go for that. Daz went 2-0. Chris went 2-1. I went 3-1. People are putting theirs in the chat. Bill's gone 4-1. So he's gone one higher. We're all expecting goals. That's the most important thing, and the reaction of the team is exactly what we need. But yes, let's wait and see what the boys produced for us tomorrow night. And are we back tomorrow night, Daz? I believe
we are back. Yes, we are back. Some of us will be back, Pete, tomorrow night. I know you're not going to be back, Chris.
I might.
Oh,
it's
you might.
an outside chance. The only problem is, if I am back, I won't have seen the game. But
don't worry about that. We don't watch the games either.
Nah,
we don't watch them.
They're not worth watching, are they? Especially ones off weekend.
Look, great if you can join us, Chris. We'll be back around the 10:15 mark or so tomorrow for the reaction after the game. I think that's it. I think that is it for us. We must tell you about this, what Gallum said about the bit in his book, Chris. He's left us on cliffhanger. There's a bit in the book about Mad Dog and Unai Emery that we must find out what that is about. But that is it. We shall see you on the next one. I think we'll switch over and play out with the Nick Voltermed song. Yeah, happy with that.
Oh, love that.
Let's do it.
Let's go. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button on the way out. Hype. Good luck.
Oh, come on, move a little closer. Come on, I wanna hear you whisper. Come on, settle down inside my love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally in love. Accidentally I'm love. Accidentally I'm love. Accidentally, come on, spin a little tighter. Come on, and the world's a little brighter. Come on, get yourself inside.